probably one of the more important issues that we're struggling with as a nation, and that is the fate and future of the Republican Party. And in that context, the fate and future of both Donald Trump as a figure and a figurehead and Trumpism, or what you could call neo-fascism, more broadly. Josh Hawley is out there selling campaign merchandise, showing him giving the fist, right? Yes, tear down that Capitol. This is Trumpism. Donald Trump could, drop dead of a McDonald's heart attack tomorrow morning, and Trumpism would live on. You would have, the tough guy, but you would have other people trying to imitate him and trying to take his place. Ron DeSantis is probably the most prominent right now, but I would say that Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, there's no shortage of people who want to be Trump. And Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, you've got, there's a number of people out there who are jockeying for position to be the new Trump if Trump goes down. So how's this going to play out? On the one hand, we've got people, political commentators, particularly in the mainstream media, basically saying, it's all going down in flames. In fact, this is the piece from U.S. News and World Report. It's titled "Trump's Falling Star" by Claire Hansen. Now, the key to this, I suppose, is that it was published about a year ago, but Claire writes, his favorability ratings are well underwater. Key voter groups that propelled him to the White House have soured on him. Twice as many people say they'd be less likely to vote for a congressional candidate endorsed by him compared to those who'd be more likely to vote for down-ticket contenders. In a hypothetical 2024 race rematch, he'd lose to any 2020 opponent. The Marquette Law School did a poll. While some Democrats have been unhappy with President Joe Biden of late, quote, what those Democrats haven't done is decided that they voted for the wrong guy, which I think is a really important point. And, I was wrong. This was not published last year. This was published fairly recently. In January, a Marquette poll, in fact, found that Biden would beat Trump 53-43 in a hypothetical 2024 race. Now, why is Trump's favorability fading? Well, I would say, number one, January 6th. Number two, people are figuring out that the guy was just a hustler and a con man. Number three, he doesn't have the bully pulpit anymore. Whether, including the Twitter and Facebook bully pulpit, but frankly, I think even those are relatively inconsequential now. When somebody can speak as president of the United States, it's like, being the Pope. You get to, you are the final word. Not the case when you're running a golf club in Florida and trying to make money selling stolen documents out of the White House. It's very strange. We've got Mike Pence now coming out saying that Donald Trump is wrong. You've got the January 6th riot, as I said. You've got Chris Christie coming out. This was 2 weekends ago on ABC's This Week program. You've got Ron DeSantis openly fighting with Donald Trump. And in Florida, DeSantis has gone from no way to, yeah, maybe Floridians would vote for him instead of Trump in a presidential primary. And then you've got Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell last week coming out and going, Trump is not the future of our party. Because he gets it. Here's what's going on. Among Republicans, Trump is still very, very strong. He's got, 70, 80% of the Republican base. But the Republicans only represent about a quarter of the country. In fact, it may even be below 25% now. They've lost maybe 4 or 5% over the last 5 years. And where those people are going is they're not becoming Democrats. They're becoming independents. Trump had the independents in 2015, 2016. And he had them by using his Bernie Sanders rhetoric. I'm going to tax the rich people so much it's going to give us a nosebleed. My rich friends are going to hate me. I'm going to bring the jobs back from China. We're going to reverse basically Reaganism. He ran against Ronald Reagan and he won the election. Arguably with a little help from his friends, but you get the point. But after watching him for 4 years do nothing but give another giant tax break to his billionaire buddies, I think people are going, okay, we get it. We get who you are. White male voters without a college degree overwhelmingly supported Trump in 2020. Republicans are now taking that voter group 70 to 28. But half of that group now see Trump, 46% disapprove of Donald Trump. So I won't bore you with all the numbers, but I mean, you got like Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. She voted to impeach Trump. And she has 6 times the cash on hand of her opponent. So this article is saying, yeah, Trump is fading. Don't worry, he's going to go away. He's doomed. He's on his way out. Then on the other hand, in Salon yesterday, Heather Digby Parton published a piece titled, "Trump Fatigue is Hype. The GOP is still firmly in Donald Trump's grip, and that may haunt them." I guess the question is, and she makes the point, and Heather Digby Parton is a commentator whose opinions I have great respect for. She makes the point that all of this, Trump is dropping, Trump is falling, Trump is dying politically, and all this kind of stuff, that, there's some of that happening around the edges, and it's happening with independents, but within the Republican Party, he still has absolute control. And, she points out that you've got Republicans who are terrified of him. And that, she says, is the definition of power. She said, and here's the quote, she said, "These people who are questioning Trump's power are still terrified of his wrath." Now, there's these very same Republicans who are confidentially telling reporters for the New York Times and the Washington Post, Trump is on his way out. They will not say this publicly because they are scared to death of him. And as she said, that seems to me that's the very definition of power. And then Frank Luntz says the big problem is that the independents are turning away from Trump, and that's a problem for Trump. The question is that a problem for the GOP? I'm seeing a train wreck coming. I'll just lay this out for you. And, here's one more piece of it, and then I'll get to that. Donald Trump is now endorsing Republican candidates around the country. In Michigan, the big one, he's endorsing candidates who are saying that they would help him steal an election in 2024. I mean, basically, it just comes right down to that. There's a great piece by Peter Stone in The Guardian. You can read it at theguardian.com or .org right now. That lays out exactly who he's supporting and what they've said. But they're basically all these, they're kind of Rudy Giuliani crazies. The election was stolen and we've got proof. No, we don't. Well, yes, we do. No, we don't. Quack, quack, quack. So the train wreck that I see coming is that the Trump faction within the Republican Party and the Republican voting base will prevail in the primaries. Starting today or this week in Texas, and soon all across the country over the next 3-4 months. The Trumpies are probably going to prevail in the primaries in many, many of these races. And they're going to end up on the ballot. And then in the general election, that's when the sane people come in and vote. And the sane and the Democrats, the Democrats they have their own primaries. And when the Democrats come in to vote in the general election in November, if we can get turnout really up there, and if we can overcome the voter suppression efforts, I think that the Trumpy Republicans are going to be easier to beat than the Mitch McConnell-style Republicans, the old guard Republicans. Because the Mitch McConnell kind of Republicans still have independents with them. The crazies don't, increasingly. And I see this as, frankly, good news for November. Now, I'm not counting my chickens. I've been there before, and I'm not going to do it again. And this election has a long way to go. But I'm not panicked. I'm concerned, but I'm not panicked. So what say you? What do you think?